Namaskar. This is Satish Kota from Satish Speaks from Global Trade and Geopolitics, powered by Navatais, an international trade platform. From the last few days, we have always been seeing and watching the things that's happening in the Middle East, right? Israel bombing Iran, Iran bombing Israel, America bombing the Iran's nuclear positions. And now, while the threat is all getting subsidized, but there's always a threat to say where they talk about Iran closing down the Strait of Hormuz, right? So, if at all Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, then what is that is the effect on the trade with India? Okay, that is what I want to talk today in this session and give an understanding of what it is and what is going to affect us and how it's going to affect us. All right. So before we start, I would like to say Nowadays is an international trade platform. We are here to support you with all activities related to international trade, supporting you with a variety of activities, right from your information, preparation, documentation, logistics, consignment, marketing, sourcing, variety of things. Take a look at our services over here and get a known of it. If at all you want to talk to us and understand more about how we can help you in export activities, you can also look at our contact details to contact us. It's not only for just for your export activities, import activities, but also if you want to learn the geopolitics and international trade as well. Okay. Now coming, what is Strait of Hormuz? Strait of Hormuz is a choke point which comes in the Persian Sea from the Arabian Sea, from the Indian Ocean towards Persian Sea, and it covers a variety of areas, and that covers the mainland as such. When you are looking at the Google Maps, right? Strait of Hormuz is a choke point. What is first of all, what is a choke point? Choke point is a particular sea area when somebody is going to attack that area and blocks it, then it affects the international trade as such. So your Strait of Hormuz comes in this region where it is between the Oman, this is Oman, the Gulf of Oman on this side, Persian Gulf on the other side. We have Oman over here, UAE over here, and Iran on the other side. And this choke point is very important. Now, why? Because 20% of the world petroleum, oil, and natural gas flow through this region to the rest of the world. Whether it is to China, whether it is to the Europe, Asia, as well as to India as well. Okay. Now it is going to get affected. So when this choke point, what you see, gets affected, then all the countries in this region will get affected. So the trade will get stopped and blocked, and we will not be able to do multiple things around that. Now, how does this get affected to India? Now, first thing is, we said from the imports perspective, India imports a lot of oil from the Persian Gulf. But if you look at what our ministry, Honorable Minister for Petroleum mentioned, he said India already has petrol or petroleum product for over 30 days in abundance, number one. And number two, we have reduced our purchase from the Middle East region, and we are purchasing from Russia and other places as well, right? So he says India does not have to worry about what is going to happen in terms of your imports of petroleum products. But other than that, there are very few things that we import from this region, so we'll not worry too much about it. But what about our exports? Right. So let's look at what is going to happen. Is that going to choke India's exports to the whole of Middle East region? See, this is the Middle East region. We have about close to about 12 countries in this region, and India, as of today, exports about $64 billion worth of products to this particular region as such. But do we have to worry that all the areas? No, as such, right? So if at all it is Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, this particular region, Yemen, we don't have to worry about it because we can sail through the Djibouti, Red Sea, and the Suez Canal to reach this region, and hence that is not the effect. It won't get affected because of the Strait of Hormuz. So when you say Strait of Hormuz, only these are the countries which get affected, right? So the first thing is, let's look at which all are, is there any real threat to us or can we eliminate? But when we say, even though we our exports is about $64 billion for this whole region, our exports only to this particular region which gets affected due to Strait of Hormuz is about 57 billion. So for the rest of the countries, we are have another 7 billion, 7.3 billion as such as exports asset. Out of these also, okay. Now first is, let's take up if effect on Iran. Now for Iran, though we have one of the major port is Bandar Abbas, where which if the Strait of Hormuz gets choked, then Bandar Abbas port will get also choked. But India, since we also run the Chabahar port just towards the corner of in this particular region, we have the Chabahar port, right? Because of that Chabahar port, we can still provide and allow Iran to send our exports to Iran, and that's about 1.2 billion. So Iran's 1.2 billion will not be get affected. Second is our Oman. Oman, it will not get affected because it doesn't have to touch. Only a part of Oman is the comes under the Strait of Hormuz, but the rest of it, whether it is the Muscat or the major port, which is the Salalah port, will not never be getting affected. So we can safely say from Oman we have about $4 billion worth of business. That's something we can take care of. Then, in terms of Saudi Arabia, yes, Saudi Arabia may get affected because of Persian Gulf, but we also have other ports in Jeddah. So, since that Jeddah port can be used through Djibouti and all, then that's about 11 and a half to $12 billion worth of business to Saudi Arabia. So, that's also not going to get affected for us. So then who are the ones who are actually getting affected? One we are going to talk about is United Arab Emirates, then we have Qatar, then we have Bahrain, then Kuwait and Iraq. These are the ones which are going to seriously get affected as such. But what is the numbers that we are looking at to these countries? To Bahrain, our exports is only about $800 million. To Qatar, it's about 1.6, $1.7 billion. And then Iraq is about $3.2 billion, and Kuwait is about $2 billion. So this is the one which will get affected. However, and the major is United Arab Emirates, because if you see, UAE is the second largest importer from India. That is primarily not because UAE uses it. We sell about 11.7 to $12 billion worth of products to UAE. But that is not only because of UAE, but because UAE acts as a re-export hub for India for variety of regions, inclusive of the Middle East, the Africa, as well as some parts of the European Union, Europe and European countries as well. So since that happens, that may get affected. So that is the only threat that we are looking at. So if we are able to take care of this, that is something that we can always look at. So what could be the possible activities? See, that's also not really 100%, even though we have the Strait of Hormuz that is getting affected. We still see this is Strait of Hormuz, but we also can use the Muscat port or the Sohar port and send it to UAE. That is one possibility. Or temporarily, we can always use the Salalah port over here as a re-export hub for India. Or from this region, we also have the Fujairah port, from which is also part of UAE, and then bring it on to the other parts of the region. So in effect, is really, do India has to get worried about it? I don't really see of it. Okay, and then so even though if we say about about 57 out of 57, if I'm going to remove $12 billion of Saudi Arabia, sorry, I did mention UAE as $12 billion. It is Saudi Arabia which is doing $12 billion. UAE does about $36 billion, okay, of trade with India. So that is one thing that will definitely get affected, because 36 billion dollars out of $64 billion is close to about 60%, right? So we'll have to look at what can be done in that kind of case, or if it's going to be short term, then we'll have to be prepared for that kind of an activity. Okay. So other than that, we'll have to look at what other things can happen. So we are still hoping that it may not get affected, because India has a better relationship with Iran. So just like what happened with the Houthis when they were attacking the Bab el Mandeb, they were allowing the Indian flagged ships through the system. Only they were attacking the Irani and sorry, not Irani, the Israeli or the US ships or the European ships, but they were allowing the Indian or the Chinese ships as well. So maybe Iran is going to take special note of Indian ships and allow them to do the trade around that. So what happens from India will go and engage on that. So but we'll have to see how the whole scenario is going to change. Earlier they had closed down the air for everybody, but now many of the countries have again opened up. It's since the geopolitics is going to change on a day in and day out. We'll have to wait and watch. Will Iran really choke the Strait of Hormuz? And how does China play a part in this whole activity, or really are they going to come to the ceasefire and see what are the activities that can be done? Okay, so basically trying to understand, India does not have to worry too much about its exports. Maybe to UAE it will get affected, and very small parts of these other countries. But I strongly feel that Indian exports may not get too much of affected over there, and we will always find a new routes and new ways in order to engage and structure this. Okay, so before I end on this particular subject, I would like to request you to give me your comment on what do you think that how Strait of Hormuz is going to affect the India's trade with that particular region, right? Because 16% of the India trade happens to this particular region as such. So we need to understand where what can get affected as well. So give me your comments. It's very important. I want you to give me your comments. Please give me your comments. And further on, I also want you to like, share, and subscribe to the Navatypes channel. Now, before we end, if at all you are serious about understanding or learning about international trade, or if you want to start your export import activities or need some support related to export import activities, kindly contact us. We provide you an end-to-end service related to extra all types of export related activities. Our list of services are available over here. But if you want to talk to us, our contact details are available over here, right? So with this, this is Satish Kota signing how. Jai Bharat and thank you. Namaste.